the least of these, ministering to those in need. We're starting a new quarter and a new study, and the title is a bit complicated and long, but it's clear.
And yes, Jesus gave us the commission to go and spread the gospel to the end of the world, but he also told us the parable about the Good Samaritan and commanded to us, go and do likewise. So helping the least of these, those that are hurting, those that are in need, was also part of Jesus' mission as much as was saving the world from sin.
Lately, it sounds kind of easy to talk about helping those in need. I mean, rarely someone will argue with that. It's a good PR to take some pictures doing it, post a tweet or Instagram post. It's a sensitive topic. But actually doing something about it, something that matters, something that is not just artificially appeasing our conscience, it's much more involving. And it's a subject that I personally struggle with, because I understand and I agree with the theory and the theology of it, and I do what I can. But I know and I feel that there is much more that I can do and I should do.
Around us, there is people who are poor or people who are oppressed in some sort. So stretching a hand, helping them, is nothing else but rehearsing the kingdom of God here and now. And in the Bible, there is this appeal to our heart to practice justice, to practice goodness, which is actually the way we proclaim what Jesus promised to be our future.
Hopefully by spending a quarter studying about it and talking about it, we can also experience a special touch, a personal touch by Jesus that will lead us and change us in this regard. Because whatever we do or don't do, we are doing it to Him. And we are representing Him. It's an important responsibility. Let's get into the study and the theology of it.
God created. The author of the quarterly decided to start with introductory topic/title that confused my mind at first. Why would the record of creation in Genesis find its place in here where helping those in need is really our focus? Aren't those two completely different topics? There should be some kind of answer or explanation or correlation between those two. So let's talk about it.
Our worldview, how we see life, defines also how we see everything else. Why do we want to do good? Because it can help me get something profitable in return, be it just to feel good about it. The lesson says that we are collaborators with God. Growing to such understanding, feeling it as part of who we are, now this is something big.
How do we know who God is, or what kind of character He has, or what kind of person He is? We as people tend to look at somebody's actions, and this tells us who they are, or what kind of person they will be. Isn't it the same with God? If we look at the creation, would it be possible that we will be able to see what kind of character God has? And the lesson draws our attention to two very typical characteristics of God. The first one is His sense of order. Everything seems to be in its place and very well connected. And second, we see that God is a God of relationships.
God is so intimately involved in the creation. He gave us His breath. And everything that He created shows so much thought, care. And it's not by coincidence that everything is so related to each other. There is no purpose in self. Life was not created in such way. All the colors, the beauty, and the sustaining of life, it's all built on relationships.
There's something else that we can learn about God when looking into the nature, and this is how God concludes things. In Genesis, it says that God saw all that He made, and it was very good. The lesson makes a comment and says that God felt a sense of satisfaction and completeness when He was done with the process of creation. And isn't that interesting that we can sneak peek in God's emotional, and spiritual world of who He really is. One thing is for certain. Every day we can marvel when we're looking in the wild nature of things close and far away, and in return we can get a glimpse of the person and the character of the one who created all around us.
We live in a broken world, and pain, misery, tragedy are all around us. But even today, when we look at the design of our world, and we see the power, might, and care of the Creator, it brings hope. It strengthens trust and makes us long for restoration.
The plan of God was not only to create a complete world, but also to establish a way of care for it. And Adam and Eve were the chosen ones to look after the beauty and after the order in this new planet. What differentiated them from the rest of the living world is that God gave them a moral freedom. And what moral freedom basically means is the ability to make a choice based on the things that we understand. It was a risky move on behalf of God because, as we know, it carried the power for Adam and Eve to choose against the will of God. Yes, moral freedom can be that powerful. The consequences were devastating. They affected the humanity in its all aspects of relationships. In the family, our relationship with the environment around us, and of course our relationship with the Creator. And nevertheless, since the fall in the Garden of Eden, God is working to recreate the world, to repair the relationships that have been broken by sin. And we are called as Christians for the same mission, to uphold the goodness that was poured out in the creation by God, and also to provide the care for what has been harmed and damaged and suffers in this broken world.
Even though we as humanity failed in so many ways, broke the relationship with God, failed caring for our world, failed caring for each other, the responsibility is still there. Bailing out is easy, but will we find the desire and the strength to stand out?
And having said all that so far, it's not hard for us to connect our call to look after those who have been affected by the destroying power of sin and the common origin that we have as humanity, as people. If we as Christians believe and stand for a new earth, new world that was promised to us, then definitely we're on the same mission that Jesus was, to fix this world through care, compassion, and real effort.
We may not like being our brother's keeper. And unfortunately, we easily get on Cain's path. But we are our brother's keepers. Join us again next week to continue this study with the lesson Blueprint for a Better World.